Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, our graduates, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to this convocation the candidate for the doctorate honoris causa to be conferred by York University to Olympic champion Hayley Wickenheiser. This morning, we honor Ms. Wickenheiser, one of the best hockey players in the world. She's also a community leader, mentor, author, and accomplished businesswoman. Her career began in Saskatchewan when, at age 15, Ms. Wickenheiser was the youngest member chosen for the Canadian women's national team, a team which she went on to lead to 6 golds and 1 silver medal at the Women's World Hockey Championships. Today, she stands a 5-time Olympic medalist, including 4 golds. In 2014, she was elected to the International Olympic Committee's Athletes Commission and served as Team Canada's flag bearer at the Sochi Winter Olympics. Ms. Wickenheiser made hockey history in 2003 as the first female hockey player to score a point in a men's professional game with a Finnish hockey team. In 2008, Sports Illustrated named her one of the top 25 toughest athletes in the world. Twice, the Globe and Mail has named her among Sports Power 50 influencers. News service QMI agency named her among the top 10 greatest female athletes in the history of sports. Ms. Wickenheiser's book, Gold Medal Diary, shares insights into the life of an internationally successful athlete. In the fall of 2011, she was appointed to the Order of Canada for her contributions to the growth of women's hockey and for her achievements as an athlete. Her passion for sport is matched by her desire to give back to the community locally and globally. She works with organizations such as Jumpstart, Kids Sport, Project North, Right to Play, and others. She supports the transformative power of play to educate and empower children and youth. Ms. Wickenheiser has raised the profile of women's hockey around the world. Although she retired from hockey this year as an all-time leading scorer, her legacy project, the Canadian Tire Wickenheiser World Female Hockey Festival, continues to provide mentoring opportunities for young athletes. Today, we recognize a true Canadian trailblazer. I present to you, Mr. Chancellor, Ms. Hayley Wickenheiser, candidate for the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. And Chancellor Sambora and President Shukri, to all the grads, congratulations, you guys made it. It's awesome, what a day. I like the setup walking in because I think it's really important for your families and your loved ones and your supporters to be able to look you in the eye and to see you and for you to see them. I'm pretty sure we all would agree that you guys wouldn't be where you are without all these people out here today. And I know I could say the same thing about myself because really I'm just a little girl from Shaunavon, Saskatchewan, population 1,800 people who had a dream which was to play in the NHL for the Edmonton Oilers. And when I was a kid, I loved Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier. And I would watch the Oilers of the 80s, and I would go out on our outdoor rink in our backyard, and I would pretend that I was those guys. And no one ever told me as a little girl that it wasn't okay to have that dream. And I feel very lucky because I had a mom and a dad who were both school teachers who believed that a little girl could do anything that a little boy could do. And so I stand here in front of you 30-some years later to just say simply, I had a dream, I was allowed to go for it, and a lot of great things happened. I think many of you guys today, you have different journeys. Some of you may have whizzed through high school and right through university, and others, like Alma, who's like my hero, it's amazing, had a different journey. All of your journeys are so interesting and so special, and I think what's so great about getting an education from a Canadian institution in particular is that it's more valuable to the world than any Olympic gold medal will ever be, and we're so fortunate to be able to live in this country. If I was to have spoken to you guys 5 or 10 years ago, I might have a different view on education. It took me a very long time to get my bachelor's degree, about 16 years in between a few Olympic Games, and then a master's degree. But I think when you get an education, what it does is it gives you wings. It gives you that freedom. And then it's up to you with what you do with that wings, how you use it. And I think for all of us, with an education, with wings, we're meant to fly. And for me, the education that you get in an institution is one thing, but it's what you do with that and what you experience in the world and the types of relationships that you have with people and the type of impact that you make on people that really is the gold in all of that. And I think for myself as an athlete, I've been able to travel all over the world. And my son Noah is 17 as well, and he's 17 and he's already been to 43 countries around the world, and his education will be in the reverse. But the great thing about our kids, as all of you out here know, and maybe many of you up here have kids as well, is our kids they're our truth tellers. They tell us how it is whether we want to hear it or not. And for me, the greatest blessing in my life as an athlete is my son Noah, because quite frankly, he hates hockey. His dream is to go to Royal Military College and pursue military studies. That's his passion. But after the 2014 Olympic Games in Sochi, I got a call from Wayne Gretzky, and Wayne said, "Hey, would you like to come to Las Vegas for my fantasy camp and skate with my campers for a week?" And I said, "Sure, I'll come down for a few days." And Noah overheard me on the phone with Wayne. And when I got off, he said, "Well, Mom, I want to go too." And I said, "Well, why? Like, you don't like hockey." And he said, "Well, no, but it's Vegas, duh. I want to go and hang out in Vegas." So I said, "Okay," and away we went to Vegas. And of course, I went to the rink, and he stayed at the hotel. Didn't matter if it was Wayne Gretzky or anyone else. And when I got off the ice, I got a text message, and it said, "Hey, I thought you might like to see this." And what he had done was he had taken my Olympic gold medal from Sochi, and he had gone to a place called Pawn Stars. So I don't know if you guys know what Pawn Stars is, but Pawn Stars is a show on A&E where people try to sell stuff and pawn stuff off. And so he actually tried to pawn my Olympic gold medal off. And so Chumley, who was the guy in the show, if many of you have seen the show, said, "Well, how much do you want for this medal, kid?" And he said, "I'd like $100,000. And he said, "Well, forget it, I'll give you 30. And fortunately for him, my friend was with him and persuaded him not to sell that medal. But if that kid would have sold my Olympic gold medal, I would have killed him. But needless to say, I think the greatest lessons in life that we get are in the relationships that we have and the people around us, which include our children and the ability to travel and experience other things. And in my time with Team Canada, I am incredibly grateful for that opportunity. We have traveled around the world, and I've met so many interesting, unique people. And one of the greatest things about being a Canadian and being an athlete that you represent Canada is that you get to wear the maple leaf. You don't have to hide which country you're from or be afraid that you might be persecuted because you're Canadian. When we travel around the world and people see us in our Team Canada jackets, they come up to us and they say, "Oh, you're from Canada." Yeah, we're Canadian. And they want to talk to you, or they want to pin, or they want to tell you how much they love Canada. And I really, really believe that the world today needs more Canada. And it's I think it's represented by the diversity we see up here on the stage and out in the audience, people coming from all around the world knowing that you're welcome here in Canada. And for me, as a little girl that wanted to play the male-dominated sport of hockey, at a very young age, I realized I was lucky to live in Canada because in many other nations in the world that wouldn't be possible. But I also realized that I had also this giant bucket list that I was going to have to overcome. And it's not a traditional bucket list like climb Mount Everest or Kilimanjaro or that kind of thing, but it was actually a bucket list. So the things that I had to buck when I was growing up were things like gender and tradition. Girls don't play hockey. Fear of failure. I had no option of failing. Don't rock the boat mentality. Things like that. And I think through my entire career, I've constantly had to face those things and continue to buck it. And so the one thing that I would like to leave with all of you guys, all of you grads today, is if you don't already have your bucket list, I'm sure many of you do, that you think about what's on your list. And what are the things that are going to inspire you when you leave here today? And what are the things that you're going to fight for and that matter to you and that are going to get you up in the morning to do? Because that's what you should do. And that's what you were born to do. Hockey's given me everything that I have in my life, literally everything that I have, and it was a great journey. My next journey will hopefully be one day to be a doctor and starting medical school. In fact, last week my son sent me the story on Alma. He texted it to me and he said, "Hey Mom, look, this is proof that it's never too late to go back to school." And so thank you, Alma, for that inspiration. But I guess just to leave you guys with two things is that it's one thing I think I've experienced and Team Canada we've experienced. It's one thing to be the best in the world. It's quite a different thing to be the best for the world. And that comes with a lot of pressure. But the way that we've looked at pressure within Team Canada and playing hockey for Canada is that pressure is a privilege. And people wouldn't ask you to do great things or difficult things if they didn't think that you were capable of it. And so clearly today, all of you guys have handled the pressure. It is a privilege to be getting a degree from an amazing Canadian institution. And I wish you guys the very best in wherever life will take you next. So cheer and holler for your grad when they come across the stage. They earned it, and have a great day, everybody. Thanks.